First of all, we go and see the example of first MVC application. Okay, here I'm going to show you about this. I'm going to show you about what we are going to do. Okay, for this, first of all, we are going to build one project with the name. See here. Okay, okay. Our application name is first MVC web application. Okay, first MVC web application. This will be having we are going to design a dynamic web project for this one. uh, with this the project name is first MVC web application. In this one we are going to have src folder. We are going to have src folder. Under this we are having into parallel to this we are going to have web content folder. Web content folder. In the web content we are going to have, once again we are going to have we are going to have WebInf folder, which contains all in our Spring applications. The WebInf folder which contains all the view related pages, that means JSP and XHTML or HTML pages that we are going to have in this one. Under this WebInf folder we are again having we will be having lib directory, and also we are going to have lib folder. And also in this lib folder um, we are going to place all the jars which the jars relating to Spring, relating to Spring 3.0. Okay, why we are placing all the library jar files into the lib folder means, suppose if uh, the web server or the application server will take all the jars and put all the jars in in the class path of the project. Okay, in this, after this lab we are going to have the generally we are going to have for a application we are going to have normal web.xml file, configuration file. Okay, and this one as I already told, in the Spring application we are going to provide we are going to put all the JSP and the view related files in the WebInf folder. Based on the application we are going to put this in this modular JSP. Here, since we are taking one JSP as index JSP, in this we are going to paste this JSP index.jsp. Okay, this is the entire project this is the entire project architecture that we are going to build. Based on this one only going to build. But the application but but the context path that we are going to index URL is we are providing is index.html. Based on this only the request dispatcher takes this URL pattern, and it will passes this pattern to the handler mapper. The handler mapper will return the controller relating to this path, and the request dispatcher forwards this request to the controller, and the controller will give the view name related to this one, and the view resolver is going to map the view name, and it is going to locate the JSP file which is placed in the WebInf folder. Okay, this is the entire architecture that we are going to save. MVC project. Okay, this is the application, entire application. Now we are going to build this application in our STS. STS is the IDE that we are going to use for the Spring project. Open go and view for this Java EE2 double E project. Okay, open new dynamic web project. Give the name as since the application is already used. First MVC web application, first testing web application. I am using testing MVC web application. Okay, after that please ensure that you have chosen the correct runtime environment. For this web application I am choosing Apache Tomcat v6 6th version. Okay, and make sure it should generate the web.xml file, because in this web.xml file we are going to provide the configuration related to the request dispatcher servlet. Okay, click on the finish button. Okay, later places all the jars which belongs to this Spring 3.0 in the lib folder. Okay, open the lib folder, open lib folder of this one, Bhaskar, Durga Soft, this one. Now I am copying all the jars related to the 3.1.1 and I am pasting all these jar files in the lib folder for this one. Okay, lib folder. Here you don't need to configure the build path, because if you place all the jars in the lib folder, it automatically takes into the class path and it will shows you. See here in the build path, go and show the configure build path. Now you can see the lib folder jar files in this one. Okay, this is the thing. Okay, now why I am switching to Java EE project to Java project, it will take all the jar files in the class path, so that it will gives the content assistant in the XML pages are there. This one. Okay, listing MVC web application. Now you are going to create here, open this web.xml file. Okay, in this web.xml file you need to configure the dispatcher servlet. Okay, configure it as servlet name dispatcher, and giving the name as dispatcher. It is not mandatory to give the name as a dispatcher. Suppose if you give the name as a dispatcher, it looks for the XML file which contains the name that it has given in the servlet name hyphen servlet.xml. That is the thing. Here it looks for dispatcher icon servlet.xml page. Okay, after this you need to give the the class path of this one, org.spring spring framework dot web dot servlet dot dispatcher servlet dispatcher servlet. And also you need to make sure about the load and startup as to, because why I am mentioning the load and startup PS2 means our servlet, our request dispatcher will be created by the web context loader. Okay, web application context. Okay, before this web application context, if we need we have any dependency in the application context, that means our Spring core application, that means like an EJB, it depends on our web application context, depends on the application context. That means the web application context. See here, I'm taking our application context. Our application context is dependent on our application context depends on our web application context. Our application context in our normal JSP, in our normal JSF application context contains all the business component related things. That means in our normal JS it is like EJBs. Okay. um, this is the application relation is JSF application. Okay, JSF application in our normal project. Okay, that means the EJBs are independent of our web application. That means these will be placed in the container or server. Those can be accessed by any of the web application. Okay, so these are independent, and JSF application is dependent on the EJB application. That's why the load and startup for this load and startup is one, and load and startup for this one is we are going to put as load and startup as 2 for this application. That's why I put this one as okay. To load the application context, we are going to put one listener interface. Okay, we need to configure this one listener. That means it is going to be configured by this one. Okay, or dot spring framework dot web dot context context dot context dot context loader means I forgot this one. Context loader listener, context loader listener. Okay, we have this will create one this will create the application context of this one. Okay, so we need to configure that too. That means we need to configure the path of the application context file. So in this context param, we are going to give the value. Param name is as we are going to specify the param name as config config context config, and we are going to provide the config value as the the path of the application context. Okay, application context dot xml file. Okay, here we forgot to mention about the servlet mapping of this one. Servlet mapping of this one. Okay, and servlet mapping of the dispatcher servlet. Okay, servlet name is we need to provide the same name as here, dispatcher as here. Okay, servlet we need to provide a URL pattern for this, for which URL request we need for which URL request we need to the request dispatcher has to respond. So start.html file, it needs to respond. Okay, by looking on this configuration file, we understood that we need to create two XML files. That is, one is application context.xml file, and one more thing is the dispatcher-server.xml files. Okay, shall we going to create this one? Okay, in this web enough folder we go and create one application context.xml file. Okay, and one more thing, and one more file is application context dispatcher server dot we can leave this application context .xml as of now, because we are not going to use any beanside components here. So that's why we are going to create the dispatcher servlet. That means the web application related beans. Okay, bin here we are going to provide the suppose of this one, for this one and for the handler mapping we are going to specify the bean class is simple. We are going to use simple URL handler mapping. It is going to have one property, that is mappings. Okay, mapping. This mapping is a property, is a requires on property file. Okay, property keys, it takes the it it takes the URL that is going to be given in the HTML page. Okay, and we are going to give the handler mapping as a key value. Okay, here we are going to provide the bean value. Okay, bean id equal to index controller, and the class that we are going to use for this one is um, index controller is here we are going to use bean bean name URL handler mapping. Bean name URL handler mapping. No, not bean name. Oh, here we are going to use the parameterized controller, because we need to specify the controller here. Parameterized. You should be careful, because we are going to have two parameterizable view controller here, but we need one is related to the portlet and one more is related to the servlet. Okay, here we need to choose the servlet relating parameters. Okay, why we are using the parameterized view controller means we are going to display a static JSP page, right? That's why we are using this one. If we are not going to handle any form validations and anything, we are going to use one more handler, right? But just we are forwarding the request to the selected JSP view page, right? That's why uh, we are not defining any controller here. We are just using the Spring provided parameterizable view controller here, and it is having the property as view name. Okay, the view name that it is the view name the view name that it is going to give is index. Okay, index. This is a view name. This is the view name that is going to give. After this one, this will the controller will give the index, the view name relating to the index, what we are going to provide index.html. Then the dispatcher servlet will forward this request to the view handler. Okay, the view handler, and also we need to configure one more uh, one more class here, that is called bean view name. Our class is um, internal view resolver. internal internal resource internal resource view resolver, and internal resource it takes it has some properties. Those are internal view resolver. The property that it takes is one is prefix, that means what it will append to the view name. That means we are going to the view resolver is getting index, right? So see here, in our application in our application the request handler will get see here, the view resolver is this one. It gets the input as index. Okay, index from the dispatcher servlet. Okay, it will append webinf JSP. It will appends this as a prefix for this one. Okay, so in the prefix we are going to put this one. Okay, JSP slash. Okay, in we are going to have one more property that is called suffix. The suffix mentions the type of the file. That means we are providing JSP. See here, it will append the thing as .jsp file. Okay, now it gives the entire context path of this resource, right? So this is the entire application. Now based on this we need to create we need to have the JSP folder, right? So we are going to create one folder as JSP. Okay, in this JSP we are going to create one JSP file. Okay, that contains index.jsp. Okay, in this JSP I am going to create h1 as I this is my first application index page. Okay, this is the entire application flow. Now what we need to do, the entire application is over, right? Now what we need to do is we need to see whether our server is having mm, any application that are there or not. Remove this one and add the first. Okay, finish. Now we can see this one. Right click on this one and run as server. Specify this one and see, look at here. Okay, check if there are any errors we are getting in the console while it is loading. Okay, okay, see here we are having one error, that is let's go and see where we are getting the error. Okay, root application start update context hierarchy. Okay, send context listener when a nested exception is pass XML when application. Oh, I forgot. I mentioned the wrong name as web application context, but it actually we are having the value as see here where is one control this one web application context config location. Oh, I forgot to mention. Mentioned the wrong name. Context config location. That is the value as context config location. The the container will take this as a parameter and will this, what we will do is we stop the server. Okay, once again redeploy this project. Okay, let's see, are we going to get any errors or exception? Again we are getting one more exception. See here, what is simple in defined nested exception is no such configuration name webnf dispatch servlet dot xml different servlet config error creating being with define servlet resource servlet webinf dispatch servlet dot xml field nested exception what does spring beans dot background no named is let us see. what are the let us see what are the problems that we are going to see here. Dispatcher started HTML dispatcher dispatcher this context loader listener. Okay, what we have? Context loader list in here. Context config location application context dot exist. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention about the index controller name here, right? That is the problem that props. Yes, this one. Okay, what we need to do is we need to redeploy this project. Okay. Okay. Okay, I'm again redeploying this project into this one. Okay, I'm again redeploying this project into this one. This time, see, are we getting any errors? No, we are not getting any errors. That means the page is successfully loaded. See here, we need to give the as index.html. See what we are going to get. Yes, this is my first web application. Successfully completed our first application using parameterizable view controller. Because why we are using this first parameterizable view controller means the target page contains the static HTML page, right? If it is having any dynamic display page, then we are going to use abstract controller, abstract URL something, right? So this is the first application. Thank you again. Thank you.